Hi there, hope that you're doing well. So to continue with the history of England and William the Conqueror in 1066. It took William and his men just 6 weeks to reach London. They faced no resistance from a divided nation. One English commander simply handed over his territory, along with his daughter, to a Norman knight. So far, so good for William. However, the North had different ideas. When William tried to establish his rule there, the North massacred his men, leading to the infamous Harrowing of the North, with mass starvation and death. The Domesday Book, written 20 years later, writing off a third of Yorkshire as wasteland. In 1075, Earl Walthorf of Northumberland, the last standing Englishman of real power, was invited to join a rebellion. At the last minute, he confessed, was executed anyway, and the rebellion was crushed. The English warrior elite, with the help of William, fled to fight for the Byzantine Empire. William, having seen off any willing adversaries, proceeded to reward his allies handsomely. By his death, only around 5% of property was owned by the English. William dying in 1087 after a nasty fall from a horse, suffering a ruptured abdomen, his corpse causing a vile stench thereafterwards. Rufus, William's second son, raced across the Channel to assume the crown, and the nobles, who wished for a smooth transition, agreed. Rufus mainly used England as a cash cow to raise revenue for attempts to conquer Normandy, and was killed by an arrow whilst hunting in the year 1100. His brother Henry abandoned the corpse to claim the throne for himself. Henry knew that his older brother would be forthcoming to contest his claim, so he quickly married Matilda and preserved the last surviving link to the royal line of Wessex. When Robert duly invaded, Henry was able to mobilise the natives and Robert backed down. However, disaster was to strike when on the 25th of November 1120, Henry's son Prince Adelin perished on the White Ship during a storm along with a band of aristocrats. Matilda, Henry's wife, had another son, also called Henry, but skipping a generation, was sure to be challenged by William the Conqueror's grandson, Stephen of Blois. So in 1135, Geoffrey of Monmouth, an influential writer, created the myth of King Arthur to justify rule by a non-English king whose first duty was to avoid civil war breaking out. On 25th of November 1135, 15 years to the day after his son died, Henry I also died after eating lampreys being eels, but I presume without the jelly, so it wouldn't be jellied eels and mash, which is a famous staple of the East End of London. So replaced by the much maligned Stephen, fending off rival claims of Matilda, Henry's daughter, and her son Henry of Plantagenet. Stephen promised London its own assembly, which to the Norman elite was a sign of weakness, which didn't order well for things to come. This being defeat by the Welsh in Crugmore in 1136, followed by Scottish overtures into Yorkshire before being repelled at the Battle of the Standard. This led to the creation of marcher lords, trusted with holding or extending disputed frontiers, were permanently semi-mobilised, ready to go into battle at a moment's notice. In 1139, France invaded, and years of civil war ensued, and only the French king's wife, Eleanor of Aquitaine, dumping the King of France, branding him a monk, not a king, and marrying the warrior-like 19-year-old Henry of Anjou. There was no resistance, and Stephen agreed to the handover, dying within a year. Henry II was French, not Norman, and in 1154, the English monks writing the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle abandoned their work. So this was the start of the Plantagenets. So if you're still watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. And if you have any comments or suggestions, I'd be more than happy to hear them. Have a great day.